Okay, I've been given the okay to go. My name is Prince Leaf, and I'm going to be doing the commentary for String's run of Scooby-Doo Mystery. The category that we are doing today is an all mysteries run, and this will be starting basically from the start screen and doing every single mystery until you see a credits at the end. I was not the first runner of this game. I actually took the world record away from Holy Sanctum back in 2016, and for the last 3 years, this run has actually been pretty much for the most part unran. The last time I ran this in SNES Super Stars was 2016. So it's very nice to see the run back in, almost optimized. It's actually been pretty. A lot of improvements been happening in this game the last few months, actually. So, SpeedGaming going to give us the start. Feasel is whenever you're ready to give him the okay. I'm ready to go when you are. So. Okay, my world record was 38 minutes and 10 seconds when these meddling kids started taking time off of it. Right now, it is sitting at I got the timer here. A 36:40 tied world record between two runners. And right now you have one of the world record runners running, so should be a good run. So whenever he's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. Time will begin as soon as you press the start button. All right, and here we go. So the first mystery is the mystery of Red Ryan, a pirate mystery based on one of the earlier cases of the Scooby-Doo cartoon show. There's a lot of cutscenes and stuff that you can't really skip. However, just by mashing the start button, the R button, it kind of skips through as quickly as you can. And there's also a lot of moments where the ghost will just pop out and take free damage off you for no reason. So the sort of genre for this game is a puzzle platformer, though I would kind of call it a platformer very loosely. I mean, it's mostly just a puzzler, but there are some platforming sections, and you'll see shortly. But right now, it's more of a just go fetch these items, and we're actually going to be doing a first trick here. So he just grabbed this box, which he has to give to Velma. This is for a progression in the game that you have to give that item to her in order to start this next sequence. Well, we're going to break it a little bit by throwing this trolley at the pirate before he appears there, because normally he would appear and scare Shaggy and Scooby, and you would have to wait a second for dialogue. But if you throw the trolley before that, then it skips that section altogether, saving you a couple seconds. So this first mystery is sort of like a tutorial, and that search here thing was sort of to tell you, hey, like, there's a button on the controller, I think it's the X button, where Scooby will search the ground with his nose and it'll sweep up something. So now he's going to return out to the start of the level, which is going to be our first platforming section. And this is where a new trick that, I mean, you maybe have seen the trick being used already, but we call it R running, where you are pressing the Y button to dash, but if you're also tapping the R button at the same exact time, you gain a little bit of speed. And normally this platforming section would be a little tougher, but because of the R running, there's a lot of jumps that Beans here is making that you wouldn't normally be able to make with a normal jump. So you saw that he went through here pretty quickly. Without R jumping, he would have had to have maneuvered around a little bit more. Ooh, that's unfortunate. He missed a jump there. The hitbox for Shaggy and Scooby, like the collision detection in this game, like that's why this platforming is so horrendous. Even though it's like Shaggy and Scooby is your hitbox, it's actually not the whole entire sprite for both Shaggy and Scooby. But he did get the item, so he can just back out the door and reset. So not a big time loss there, but the animation that it takes to go back from a death screen takes about maybe 10 seconds away. So he got the teddy bear, he gives it to Velma, and Velma finds a key in the teddy bear, so then you can progress further into the ship. He had to re-grab that trolley because it's needed for the trap at the end of the game. The trolley is actually also your weapon. Here, he's going to wait in this room for a little bit to maneuver Velma around for later in the game where you have to give her more items. And doing this little pause here will save you a couple of seconds for when you have to give her an item later in the game for the end sequence, or not game, but the later of the level. So this bucket required, you throw it on top of this rat who will insta-kill you as soon as you touch him, so you need this to progress. Yeah, very vicious rat. And we're going to come to our first bonus game in the next room or two. That lamp there, I mean, he could grab it, but the darkness rooms in this level, compared to the others, is not really necessary. So the fridge minigame here, the quickest way to complete this, they're all different, but this one in general, because there's 70 seconds just on the timer, it's quicker to stack the food items all the way to the top, thus, cause the countdown to start earlier. If you were to wait it out all the way to the end, you would lose about 30 seconds. So the food items are random when Shaggy throws them out. Depending on, don't know the exact number, but I think it's like 16 on each side. If you stack that number of items, then the game will just outright end. Ooh, he just caused him to fall off the plate. Shaggy's not being very nice with the RNG right now. This is all random. He could still salvage this, but I think at this point, if you were to cause the plates to fall, it'd probably be better just to take the ending of just letting the clock run out. Because even though the timer runs out, you still have to wait for all the food items to count down as a score. Score doesn't really matter too much in this game, except for being a nerd. Nothing spectacular happens. You don't even get one-ups for getting any score in this game. That was probably the best thing he could have done, was getting rid of all those items. Because it waits until after it counts down all the items to put this screen up. So now you have to wait about 10-15 seconds for it to go away, and we get to start the game again. There are some, I guess, the score in this particular minigame, a certain amount of score will get you your health back. Score high enough, it will get you a one-up in that game only. But in general, the score itself in the game is not really necessary for anything else. So another small trick with this soap block that he's about to do, you can hit the soap block before the dialogue, the next dialogue where this ghosts appear. If he hits it right, and he will also not get a dialogue box there. It's a couple frames, but you hit it correctly, it'll throw the soap, and you will skip all those dialogue boxes. So here we are in the second mini game, and this time you're supposed to whack all the ghosts and knights, but as I found out the first time I ran this game, it's actually quicker to bang your gang friends. So whenever you bonk the gang, any of them, you take time off the counter, and the point of the game is to get the clock to run down as quickly as possible. So he's going to bonk Scooby there, and then he's going to bonk Scooby, Daphne, and Velma, all for a time loss, just to get the game to end faster. So that was a pretty good one. You do that 3 times in the run, so it saves a lot of time if you were to get that nailed the first time. So this part of the boat, he's just going around collecting all these pieces for dynamite. So you get these matches, and then I think you're going to get gunpowder and TNT. And then you're going to go hand it to Fred, and then you have to slowly watch him walk all the way to a door that he has to open with this dynamite. So unfortunately, this is a time save we can't really, avoid. We're trying our best to find any chances to, reduce time in this game. I mean, our running was definitely a big thing. It took about a minute off the run. But Fred walks so slow, and yeah, it's like 5 rooms that he has to go through to get to this next room that he's about to be in. So, great time for donations if you have any. That's if we were having donations. So he's just going to bonk the door. He's going to waste time, just kind of maneuver his way around, have fun with the controls. I guess this would be a good time to talk about jumping. So you have a normal jump when you're doing no momentum, and that, has its set jump height, but if you're dashing at any point, you get a little bit of an extra boost, which that leads to a couple new finds later in the game. But nothing, like in the platforming sections, that's the only time it's used, but when you're moving through hallways and stuff like that, that's not really useful at all. But R running does help you get to and from places a lot quicker. So Fred should be here in about 10 more seconds. And I like to hype up this explosion as if it's one of the best explosions ever. So go ahead and enjoy it for a second. It wasn't that awesome, there was no noise whatsoever with that explosion. I was joking with that, but basically the rest of this game is just picking up the rest of the items for a trap. Well, you need the generator, and you need a cable to basically plug it in, and this will unlock the last door of the game, which will get us to the ending sequence for this last, for the level. You talk to Fred, he'll tell you need these 2 items. So once you you give him these 2 items, he'll set it, and then he'll open the door. So through this door, you find the final clue to the game by going into this dark room, picking it up off the floor. Or the key. It's been a while since I played this game. So you use the key to get into the submarine, then you pick up the final clue to the level. It's a gold bar. So you give this last item to Velma, and then the sequence of trying to catch the monster begins in true Scooby-Doo fashion. So because he manipulated Velma at the beginning of the middle of the level, that's why she's there at that door right now. Otherwise, she would be in the room below you. So you talk to Fred, and now you have to go find the items for the trap, which you have one of them already, or 2 of them actually. You have the teddy bear and the trolley. So he goes to the left to find one of the items in this room, or in the next room. And then actually, I think he has all the items. You only need 3 of them. I'm getting my traps and stuff mixed up in other levels. So you give all these items to Fred, and then you can go catch the monster. And to catch this monster, just walk to the left, and all the way to the left, and he'll appear. So would you do it for a Scooby snack? And they give you a Scooby snack because they know that you're going to take some intentional damage off this ghost from spawning in. See, there's no way to avoid that. So you just walk to the right, to the trap, and you're done with the first level. Excuse me. So, catch Red Ryan. He's Captain Porter. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure it has something to do with the episode that the game was based off of. So, on to level 2, the Haunted Carnival. Again, starting with cutscenes, try to skip them as fast as possible by just mashing buttons. I should mention that there are a lot of clues that are just kind of laying around the level. Most of the speedrun, you don't actually pick up most of those clues. You just pick up the ones that make it so you can proceed to the next place. And so right now, he's picking up this arm manual. You need to use that and this little, I don't know what it's called, it's the thing for the little jackhammer. Not jackhammer, I don't know what it's called. I can't think of it right now, but you basically use the manual, you hit the mallet with it, and it rings the bell. And because it rings the bell, you get the key to the next part of the park that you need to be in. So giving it to Fred, or well, not giving it to Fred, but just talking to Fred says, like, hey, you can use this key to go to other places. So he's going to go in this tent, he's going to find the nickel, or I want to say it's a nickel, but it might be a dime. Nope, it's a nickel. So you use this nickel, he goes to this crane machine all the way to the left. For some reason, there's a prize, and, well, I guess he'll get that later. There's a prize in the crane machine, which, how are Scooby and Shaggy going to be the ones to, pick the right prize in the crane machine every single time you play the game? Like, and then here, I think it's another one of those fridge mini games. There's 50 seconds on this one. So still, it's faster to complete the game by getting all the food items stacked up. So Shaggy's being a little more generous this time around. He's got a really good stack going on the right side. And when Scooby is level like he is, it's a little easier to move around. When he starts getting a little lopsided like he is now, it becomes a little harder to move, and it becomes easier for you to knock everything off. See, he was able to get it with 16 extra seconds on the clock, so it'll count down, and he'll save himself about 10 seconds going into the next part of the level. So he got enough of a bonus to get a 1-up in that one. But you know, as speedruns go, like, try to avoid dying as much as possible, so that 1-up is pretty useless. You almost better to get a snack bonus, because it gives your health back. Anytime you are low on health, you can go talk to Daphne and get another Scooby snack. Only once every sequence. You can't just go up to her and get every Scooby snack ever. So you use the nickel to get the prize out of the crane machine. Velma comes over and says, "Wow, you won a prize," and then you get a pass out of it to go to other places in the park. I guess carnival. It's not really a park. Who wants to win a fish? I certainly do, but you don't ever play that game. So now we get to play another mini game here. It's called the slide. Anytime there's an arrow, it's telling you basically to jump over. It's like it's either in 1 or 2s, and whenever it's up, you have to jump. When it's down, you have to stay down. There are Scooby snacks that are just kind of here. You can pick them up if you need them. At the end, there's 2 exits. If you jump over the first one, you get about 5 Scooby snacks to, get your health back if you need them. But since Bean is still at full health here, he's just going to take the first exit. He doesn't need the extra boost of health. So now that he did that, he gets a key to go to the next part of the carnival. And the next area, we're going to be doing our second platforming section of the game. And if you were me back in 2016, you would do it the original way, which would be to wait for all these platforms to sort of auto-scroll their way to be in position. But Bean is going to be using a visual cue at the very start to hopefully set up this whole entire room so that he never has to stop. So he nailed the first one. He's going to use R running to get enough of a boost ahead. He needs to pick up that item there to get to the next part. And it looks like he got off sequence here, so he's going to take it really slow going into this next area. So he's going to... So using that little jump boost when you get a jump boost when you're running, he's going to use this boost to get up on this little platform here, saving himself a few seconds, and he's going to jump across all these. If you memorize the section, it'll be a little easier, but you're supposed to have some lamp to see all the platforms and stuff. But since he's played this game a lot, he should know where everything is, and he did that pretty well, just that little hiccup in the second portion after the blowtorch. So getting those 2 items in that truck, you go out the back door, and it takes you to the first screen that you started at, and you give those 2 items to Fred, and he unlocks the next part of the carnival. Ooh, that was close, but I think he got hit there. So he might... Nope, he was able to avoid that wolf that just kind of spawned right when he entered the room. Oh, this is unfortunate. He's going to take some hit. Yeah, that was kind of bad. Like, the wolf appeared right after the clown. There is no actually, unless you're getting hit by one of the monsters, like all the bicycle or the unicycles and stuff. Oh, he looks like he skipped a section. I believe you're supposed to grab the item on the ground and then take that to Velma. Yeah, that's what he did. You give this to Velma, and she'll give you the key to that trailer. It looked like Bean just skipped a little, getting a little ahead of himself, but that's okay. You give Velma the nose also that's right there. Giving her these 2 items will give you the key. I think the news clipping talks about layoffs, and it kind of talks about the villain and why he would haunt this carnival. And then the nose is just, a clown nose. Because, obviously in the show, they have to find out that, man, he's not really a monster. So we can catch him. So we take this key to this trailer, and then you find a costume just sitting on the ground, which which for some reason in your items looks like a Christmas tree. So Velma waits outside the trailer for you to come through. You automatically give her the item, and it starts the sequence for you to catch the monster again. Fred comes up and talks, and it's like, we need to find these items. And conveniently, they are all at this last area that you were just walking around. You need 4 of them this time around. So he's going to grab these matches. The mouse there. This is where, like, there's no concept of the hit detection here. There's no iframes whatsoever when you're just walking over normal enemies. So he used the mouse there to kind of get the mouse out of the way. So he could literally just walk over that unicycle and they can kill him in like 2 seconds. That's how quickly the health just kind of drops in this game. It's not really health, it's more of how scared Shaggy and Scooby get. So when it gets to max, they get spooked and then you lose a life. So here we're going to another bonking minigame. He's going to do the same thing he did the first time by doing the first 2 waves quickly as possible and then just bonking all the gang members. So you bonk these ghosts, bonk the armor. Now he's gonna bonk the ghost, and then he's gonna bonk Scooby, and then bonk the last ghost to end the wave. Now he'll bonk the 2 members, and then he'll bonk whichever one he feels like. Cause there's 2 on both waves that he can bonk to get a time loss. So that was pretty good. That's about as fast as it could possibly be. And why we have to go in this room, there's one more item in this that you need to get, which is the cannonball. And now he has all 4 of his items that he needs, and right here is where the cannonball is. He's gonna put the cannonball in the gunpowder in the cannon. It'll lay the slime, and then you use the matches on the little smoke trail there to light the cannon and bonk him in the head with the cannonball. And then you have captured the clown. And that ends level 2. In a very cartoony way. I mean, that's a pretty hilarious way to catch a monster. The traps that they use in Scooby-Doo are kind of, not like practical when it comes to catching monsters. That was always a fun thing to see in cartoons. Obviously, the unexpected stuff that would never usually works in those sort of things. So we're on to the Spooky Swamp, the 3rd level of the game. It's actually the fastest level because there's no bonus stages in this entire stage. This goo monster appears here. That's sort of your cue that there's a boot there that you need to pick up, and you can't proceed until you pick up that boot. So getting it the first time through is the fastest, and make sure you don't miss it. You have to give this to Velma, and then she'll let you go to the next part of the game. I think you grab this Scooby snack here for safety. So there's 2 things you can do in this next few screens. You can grab these tires, which you can get for later in the game, but because of R running, you don't really need those tires to get up there. You can possibly make it, but it's a pretty tight jump to make. So I think he's going to grab the tires to be safe. So here he's getting up on the roof. This is where you grab the fan, and you need a fan and a generator for progression again. And a small neat little trick with this that's coming up. He's going to give Fred these 2 items, and then Fred's going to lay them himself to blow these leaves away. And then while he is laying these 2, you can pick them back up. So he's going to quickly do that so that he doesn't have to wait till after this dialogue to pick them up and then get ahead of him a little faster. So Fred mentioned something about a gas container. Well, the next screen, it happens to be a gas station, and that's where the gas container is. The next time you actually use the generator is when you're setting the trap. So if you were to miss that item and then find out later when you're supposed to set the trap for the swamp monster, he nailed that jump with the R running technique. He didn't grab the wheels. So that saved him a few seconds of having to grab the wheel. This part of the game used to be a nightmare for me because if you were to land on these vines, you would die instantly. But because of R running, you can actually skip parts of the level. Because normally, without R running, you would not be able to make that jump that he just made over the gap. And then you would have to do an auto-scroller section for about 10 extra seconds why he's going into this right room right now. That is actually the trigger for an item that he needs to pick up for more progression later. That's actually the trap room that he walked into, but you walk out there to trigger another part of the game. So now it's just him walking through rooms until he needs to go grab 2 more items, and then, yeah, this fairly short stage is pretty much over for the most part. You can fall in this swamp area there and die instantly. So going... Again, I think he's jumping ahead of himself. He needs to go get the deed. Yeah, it's kind of tough to find the exit. I mean, you have to navigate in pitch black. I mean, you can't actually see where you're going. I don't actually know what he's doing here. I'm kind of confused myself. I don't know what's going on. I think that he's trying to figure out what he had missed in the route, but I'm pretty sure he did it all right. He just needs to go and grab the deed, and then the tar will appear. That ladder there, I actually don't know if that looks like a door to anybody. Like, it's supposed to be a door, but you might walk right by it and not notice it. See, will the tar be here this time? Okay, so something with the game didn't load the trigger for that. So now that he's got the tar, he'll go grab the deed, which is in the next area. But he is kind of low on health, so I think he's going to take another health refill. Oh, yeah, that's what he did. And this is another monster that you can possibly take damage off. So grab this, and then go give these 2 items to Velma, and start the monster catching sequence again. So remember how I mentioned that you needed a gas container? That Fred will mention that in order to use the generator again, you need to grab the gas container. Well, now this is going to be when we start the monster catching sequence, and we actually have all 3 of the items that we need for the trap. So again, you know, if you forgot to pick up those items after Fred used them to blow the leaves, you'd have to go all the way back to the beginning and pick those up. So, but because we all know the route and know the game, we avoid that by just picking them all up and saving ourselves time. So he's going to retreat back to that area. Take about a minute to get back there. So that beehive there, there's actually an item that you don't really need for progression. But if you wanted to pick up all the clues in the game, there's one that's just sitting under that. It's like a trap. You do take damage when the beehive falls on you. So give him all 3 of these items, and now we are going to go lure out the monster, which you just go to the right and go down. Here's where the tar monster appears. There is a chance, I don't know what causes it, but if you're so quick in this monster catching sequence, you can soft lock the game right here. I don't know the specifics of it, but I have seen it done with Dean's channel, so it's good that it didn't happen. But there's also another soft lock you can do on the last stage, and that'll end the third stage, and there's only 4 levels in this game, so we are going into the final stage of the game, and it's the longest one by far, but it's also one of the more scripted mysteries of the whole game. Just a lot of the time that you spend in this level itself is just you talking to the gang and going through like scripted events. And then there's those 2 bonus stages that you also do in this level. And then for whatever reason, like the beginning of this level for some reason starts you already at half like fright before you get to like seeing any monsters. The game just kind of gives you that damage. I mean, there's this falling chandelier here that you can maybe get hit by, but you got to grab those papers. And this is your first item to give to Velma. And this, of course, starts another sort of cinematic cutscene where you are going to be told to go into the next room. And this will automatically take damage off take some damage off. And then they kind of like, oh, can I do something else? Like, I think in scared situations, Scooby and Shaggy always make excuses for why they shouldn't follow monsters or do anything. So he's like, can I get a sandwich instead? So they're going to get a sandwich, and this is the final fridge section of the game. There's only 30 seconds on this one. You can possibly get all the food items, but I think all of us runners think that this is impossible to do in the given time, even if the RNG has to be almost like perfect for you to do such a thing. But the time that you save really isn't worth it, I think. And it's almost better for you to maybe just take the game for what it is and just take 30 seconds and just end the game when it does. So no more of that stuff. No more time waste like that. It's just a bonus game. It doesn't do anything. So while we're going into this room, we are going to find some green dye. And everybody knows what, everybody's favorite green has to do with money, correct? Well, that's what the mystery is about. Some phony money printing. So you give this item to Velma, and then you can move on to the next place. And then we go to our final scripted little fright scare. And this will take us to about half health. So no more jumps, no more scares like that, which the game just intentionally takes health away from you. So we grab these 2 items here. This little door here that looks like a closet is actually a door that you got to go through. And I believe this is our final bonking. Yep, this is the final bonking minigame. So repeat the same process that we did the first 2 times, and we'll be through this one less than 30 seconds. I also like when you bonk Scooby in this minigame, he comes back up with the hard hat. Because the gang, like Daphne and Velma are wearing hard hats already, but Scooby's the only one that's not. They just he laughs and he comes back up with the hard hat. And just laughs. So here we're going to grab a bat, I believe. A toy bat. Then go back another room. He's going to grab, I think, makeup. So I think we're already starting to realize that the Count is not really a monster. As if anybody's surprised by that. So you give these 2 items to Velma, and she'll give you the key to the end of the hallway. Like, why would a vampire need a rubber bat and makeup? Right? Maybe because he's not a vampire. So through this door, you grab a suit. Tuxedo, I believe. Now you have to wait for Velma to come through this door, or you can walk out and talk to her, but it's faster for you to wait for her to come through. And then another unskippable sort of time loss here. You have to wait for Velma to get to the other side of the room so you can help her push open this door that's locked. Which, you know, Shaggy goes so fast, he could probably just ram through the door himself. So as soon as she gets over there, dialogue starts, and then you're just to push it, and the door opens. So here we're going to grab, I want to say cheese? Yeah. The cheese is used to, again, like the bucket in the first level, you're using the cheese to stun a rat, which will insta-kill you if you touch it. So once he does this, we can move on to a later, well, the next part of the level. I think he's grabbing the lamp there. You throw the cheese, a key will appear, and you can open this door. So here is the library. I'm pretty sure the developers had an idea with what to do with the library. Well, they actually did. There's a puzzle you're supposed to do with these books that he grabbed. There's actually 4 scattered with the level. So right now you're only supposed to have access to 2 of them. But because of the momentum jumping that you get from pressing the dash button, you only need 2 books to get up to this door, because the momentum will give you enough height to get up there. So here we got to maneuver around a little bit of a dark hallway and get to the end door right here. And he'll grab a money print. And there's the printing press that prints the cash, a $5 bill. And now he's going to take an intentional death to go back to an earlier portion of the level. It's quicker to do this than it is to just walk through the stage. So back to the library. There are 4 books that are scattered throughout the entire house. There's 3 of them that are in the library. You're supposed to use those 2 books to make yourself a ladder to get up to the 3rd book, and then you're supposed to use the 3 books to find the 4th book in the library. And then you need to come back to that part and place those 4 books in order for you to get enough height to jump up on the door there. But because of the jumping momentum, you only need 2 of them. So that's an oversight I think the developers didn't think about when they, planned that out. So it was a nice little trick, but as a puzzle platformer, it was meant to be a puzzle, but you break it by just speedrunning it. So here we're waiting for Velma to come through this door, and that is because a soft lock can occur if you talk to Velma way too soon by giving her this item. And when you give her the item, the gang is going to set up for catching the monster at the end of the game again. However, because we're running so fast, we actually do not allow Velma to get into position before we are supposed to start the catch. So Velma is out of position, and that throws the trigger off for you to catch the monster. And when that happens, the monster will literally just run back and forth and take every bit of your health away until you lose, game over, you must reset. So it's kind of rough on the speedrunner to get all the way to this point and have this soft lock occur, especially if you're on world record pace. So the items for the trap are kind of spread out through, further out than all the other all the other mysteries in the game. So he has to go back up to the attic room to pick up the barrel, which is in the first room that he went right by the first time around. So jump up here, go into this door, grab a barrel. Only need 3 items for this trap. Excuse me, guys. I do apologize for the fact that I'm coughing. I always seem to be sick during all these commentaries. So without the fall damage, he can just fall all the way to the bottom here, taking absolutely no damage whatsoever. It's the only room in the game that happens in. I'm pretty sure they wanted to be easy on the player because the platforming section, that's the highest room in the game. So Fred gives you the rundown of what you need. I'm thinking Bean is going to check to see if Velma's in the right position. But it looks like she is. So give Fred all these items. And then now he's going to go lure out the monster. And if he had done it correctly, this should be time as soon as not time, but he should be able to catch the count. But so you lure him to the trap. Use R running to get way ahead of him. Yeah, this looks good. So as soon as he triggers, hit the lights. So mash through all this dialogue. And yeah, the monster's name is J.D. Morgan. That's who the culprit is. I guess that's a take on J.P. Morgan, the bank company, or the bank. So time, as soon as you press start on that, and then a congratulations screen appears. And the funny thing about the congratulations screen is that when you game over, it's the same screen except game over, and everybody's face palming you. So whenever you do get the soft lock to happen, I mean, when you game over, you kind of get the same screen. So it's a little bit of a slap to the face, I guess, that the soft lock happens. But that was a really good run. A 3850 is not bad. Again, the world record is a tied between stringbeanstring and Kinshiro at a 3640. My time was 3810 3 years ago. So just seeing the amount of improvement in such a short time, like these, like stringbeanstring, Kinshiro, and Alter Mentality all joined this game about 4 months ago, and just seeing the amount of improvement in such a short amount of time, like 3 years. I mean, I didn't exactly do anything leading up to this little increase of popularity in the game, but you know, I'm just really excited to see that there's more people that want to join this game, and just seeing the amount of improvement in such a small time is just really awesome. So stringbeanstring had a really good run. So yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it at that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the run. It was a great one. I had a blast doing it, and you know, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Feasel and Aldim. So I'll see you guys next time. I was Prince Leaf. See you guys later.